Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I'm going to be talking about 4 made-for-TV Italian horror movies that I thought were awesome. This is the Houses of Doom movies, which consist of 4 films. The House of Lost Souls, directed by Umberto Lenzi; The House of Witchcraft, also directed by Umberto Lenzi; House of Clocks, directed by Lucio Fulci; and The Sweet House of Horrors, also directed by Lucio Fulci. I'll talk briefly about all 4 of these movies. As I say, I had a great time watching them. And these were all filmed in 1989 and only got kind of a limited airtime. The story in itself is quite funny. The TV guys had an idea for these 4 TV movies and in their wisdom hired Umberto Lenzi and Lucio Fulci to direct the movies. So 2 of the most violent and gory filmmakers in Italy. And then of course the end result of these movies were they were far too strong for regular television, so didn't really do much of the rounds. They have been available on DVD for a long time. I've never got around to watching them. I used to see them on the Vitco label, which was cool, but yeah, never got them until now. Cauldron have released them in the Houses of Doom box set, which looks fantastic. I've just got the 4 films individually because I got them at a really good price. Kind of wish I got the box set now, but that's just one of those things. Maybe I'll find the box at some point and I'll be able to complete that, but really happy to finally get them in the collection. So let's talk a little bit about these movies. Now I have to say right off the bat, a little bit of a criticism, but the dubbed dialogue in all 4 of these movies is diabolically terrible. It's some of the worst line delivery you've ever heard, and everything that everyone says in the film just makes you cringe.
And I'm gonna snore for a day and a half solid. You wake me at your own peril. Got the message, children? Got it?
Yes, sir, of course.
It's terrible, and everything just feels a little bit off because of how weird the dialogue in these movies is. Sort of takes you out of the films a little bit, but at the same time provides a bit of hilarious charm just because of how weird the talking in these films are. But kind of that aside, I really like these. They're great examples of why I love the Italian horror genre. The look of them is fantastic. They've got this hazy 80s look and pretty good set pieces as well. The houses and the interiors and exteriors do look pretty awesome. There's some nice cinematography going on here, albeit quite unique to the Italian horror genre. The music in these films is good. It's got an ominous gothic kind of horror soundtrack in all 4 movies. There's even one of the films which borrows a bit of soundtrack from Demons, which was quite welcome actually. And then of course the horror aspects in these movies is really good. There's some good gore, some good kills in this. A lot of people getting their heads chopped off, a few entrails spilling here and there, some quite visceral facial body horror gore as well that you tend to get in these like Fulci type movies, and some really good kind of nightmare fuel images, kind of skulls, tarantulas and ghostly figures here and there in the films, which was great. I also liked just the ominous feel that the supernatural elements in this movie created, and there was just a good balance of that supernatural and gore. It was really good, and they were pretty well paced as well. They never got boring. Out of the 4 movies, I have to say, even though I'm a devoted Fulci fan, I thought that the Umberto Lenzi were the 2 better movies than the Fulci ones, but I did enjoy them all. I actually watched all 4 in one day, so whether I was just more energized for the Umberto Lenzi movies, which were the 2 I watched first, I don't know, but I definitely enjoyed his more than Fulci's. But I'll talk about each movie briefly individually and let you know what sort of went down in each of these films. But yeah, for me, 4 really fun Italian horror films, and as I say, they just sort of quintessential examples of what I love about the genre, what makes it unique, and a few elements of why they're kind of unintentionally hilarious. So the first movie that I watched was The House of Lost Souls, one of the Umberto Lenzi ones. This one was definitely my favourite of the lot. As I say, I don't know if I was just more energised for this one, but yeah, I thought this was fantastic. This one's about this group of like geologists. They get lost driving one night and they find a old dilapidated hotel, and this creepy guy lets them in, gives them a room for the night, but they are haunted and killed off by these ghosts who are the ghosts of people that were murdered there years before. So they start getting killed off. There's some good deaths in this, and as I say, there's a good supernatural element to this as well. There's a really annoying kid in this who, I don't really want to spoil things, but I don't think it matters too much, gets killed involving like a washing machine, which was just glorious. It was such a great, gory scene. And I didn't see it coming either, so that was fun. There's a few other good moments in this, and some really good kind of horror imagery as well. There's like this weird iconography that's smashed up and starts oozing blood, and there's an awesome shot of like tarantulas crawling over people's faces and crawling on skulls, that kind of thing. Very kind of harken back to the Beyond with that kind of sort of visual horror. So that was fantastic. But yeah, I just had a great time watching this one. As soon as it started, it just threw me into that Italian horror mood. The tone was fantastic, even though, as I say, everything about it is slightly odd. It kind of added to the charm. So yeah, House of Lost Souls I thought was a really great Italian horror film. Then we have The House of Witchcraft, and I enjoyed this equally as much as House of Lost Souls. This is the second Umberto Lenzi one. This is like this overworked journalist who's like, he's about to have a breakdown. He goes to this house as like a retreat to kind of chill out, but again starts getting these haunting visions of just this weird stuff happening, and like this knife welding witch who looks really creepy, and all that starts to escalate, and more weird things happen. A few more deaths occur in this one. Really good death, the guy who gets killed with a pair of garden shears. That was pretty nasty. All this stuff you can just tell is way too strong for TV. You can see why they ran into trouble. But again, another suitably effective haunted house horror film. So yeah, House of Witchcraft, I enjoyed it just as much as the first one, and was kind of like, man, you know, I'm on a real roll with these movies. These are excellent. So yeah, definitely another one that's worth checking out. I then went on to The House of Clocks, which is the one I've heard of the most, and is Lucio Fulci. So I was really looking forward to this one. Have to say this one was a bit of a step down from the previous two. I did really enjoy it. It does suffer from a bit of that Lucio Fulci incoherency, which can seep into his films sometimes. This is about this old couple who have this big house full of clocks. He collects clocks, and it's really difficult. I don't really know what Fulci was going at tonally, because they kind of get home invaded by these 3 delinquents. So I'm not sure if you're supposed to feel sorry for the old couple or not. But right at the beginning of the movie, the old lady kills her servant in quite gruesome fashion. So it really starts the film off on a bizarre plot. I thought it would be the elderly couple who were like these murderous, weird people. But then it kind of flips it, and it kind of goes home invasion. So it's really all over the place with characters and what goes on in this one. Yeah, I'm still not too sure entirely what the crux of this film were. Again, I liked it for the tone and just the creepy house elements of this one. I didn't particularly like the characters in this. The delinquent characters were quite unlikable, but again, kind of the off dialogue just makes you a little bit confused as to what you should be thinking or feeling towards them. And this one all comes together and it's just a bit of a mess, I have to say. Still worth checking out, and definitely if you're a Fulci aficionado, one that you should see. But Yeah, certainly not as good as the first two movies, I have to say. And then I finished with the Sweet House of Horrors, the second Lucio Fulci one. This one was the worst one of the lot, and I'm going to even struggle to really tell you what this one's about. It's this wealthy couple who are killed off, and their two young children go to live with their aunt again at this big house. And weird stuff starts happening. That's all I can say. But this one for me was pretty much ruined by the two kid actors in this. They are so irritating and annoying. And then add to that the cringe dialogue that is dubbed over them. It is one of the most bizarre portrayals I've seen in cinema. And I don't know if it's the kids or just poor writing, but it seems like there's scenes where they act happy when they should be sad. There's scenes where they should be sad and they're being happy. It's so off in this film. It just took me right out of it, and I really was struggling to stick around with this one when those kids got so much screen time. There's a couple of good segments in this. It's a couple of good kills, and then there's a couple of really kind of clumsily handled moments in this one. A bit where like a digger goes out of control, but it's this awful like fast motion, almost like a Norman Wisdom sketch, and I'm like, no, this one ain't great, but has its moments, and I don't know, was fun to finally sort of wrap up this otherwise pretty strong quadrilogy of films. But yeah, for me this one was the weakest one. So ultimately, even though I didn't find the last movie particularly enjoyable, I can strongly recommend checking out the Houses of Doom movies. And if you can get the hands on the box set from Cauldron, they're four really nice releases of what I think were great Italian horror movies. So let me know if you've seen these films as well, and what you thought about them. I'd be really interested to know, because they don't really get too much attention, but I'm really glad I finally checked them out. Two of them I thought were excellent. Houses of Clocks was okay, and the last one just didn't do too much for me. But overall, if you like Italian horror cinema, these get a big Horror Hands recommendation. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.